You printed that in the Christmas?
That's Ariel. Let me see if she can refill it. There we go.
I'm going to take a quick picture.
Welcome in on 850 WFTL and also on Facebook Live. I'm Karen Curtis, and I'm joined by a very good panel today. This has been about a year since we had our first medical marijuana panel, and it's been about a year and 4 months since the governor signed the Amendment 2 law into made it active, and that was actually in June of 2017. And I'm joined to my right, and your left on the radio, is Dr. Jen Guthrie. She's licensed by the state to prescribe medical cannabis, and you believe in medical marijuana as a way to treat anxiety, which I want to hear more about. Welcome.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. And then also Stuart Kaplan, our beloved former FBI special agent and also defense attorney. He'll tell us whether or not he's ever defended anybody who's had a DUI on pot.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And then also our friend of the show, Dr. Joan Baijnath. She's board-certified internist licensed in the states of Florida, New Jersey, Nevada. She specializes in internal medicine, and she is actually works at EMDE. Is that right?
Yep.
MD Cares. And she deals with a lot of the dispensaries, but she has so much good information about what has happened in the last year and 4 months since this became law and how things have changed. And first of all, I want to ask you, Dr. Baijnath, you were telling me that you have been able to, with this medical marijuana, and we've got this horrible opioid crisis, that you've been able to transition people off of opioids, prescription drugs for anxiety, and get them onto the medical marijuana. It's like saving lives, right?
Absolutely. So for the past year, we've had patients with chronic pain and cancer patients, chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease. They end up on narcotics like opioids. They end up on sleeping pills, Valium, Xanax, things like that. We were able to, once they got certified and received their medical cannabis, we were able to wean them off of the opioids. For some patients with mild pain, we were able to get them off of opioids entirely. With moderate pain, maybe a reduction to about 25%, severe pain, 50 to 25%.
So is the pain associated with the endocannabinoid system? Is that, and we've determined cannabis cannabinoid, this system we didn't really know about before, Dr. Guthrie?
Right, yes. So, the pain that we always associate with opiates targets the opiates receptors, specifically the mu receptor. The problem with chronic opioids is once you're on them long term, it's hard to differentiate when you're really having pain and when you're not, because your body wants it. So it's going to tell you have pain that you actually don't. So, I agree with her completely, because once you get people off the opiates, then you can really see what pain is and how to accurately manage them.
And that level from 1 to 10, does that really work? I mean, does that help you?
How
does. Bad is your pain?
It does and it doesn't. When someone's actively withdrawing,
it's a 10.
Well, when someone's actively withdrawing, their body's telling them it's a 10, so they can't tell you any different, because that's truly what they believe.
Right.
And it's not until they're completely off the medication that they can accurately assess their pain. But you got to treat them accordingly, because if they're telling you it's a pain, they feel like it's a 10. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Pain. Yeah. So before we talk about how the law is kind of narrowed a little bit in terms of which diseases are actually prescribable, I want to go to Stuart here, because it is 420. This is a big day for hot people. And under the federal government, marijuana is still illegal. And Sessions, actually, you were telling me, he rescinded the Cole memo. So medical marijuana is a Schedule I drug, and it is very much on the radar and illegal federally, but not here in the state of Florida in terms of medical marijuana.
Yeah, that is correct, Karen. There is a tremendous confusion, because even myself, I just came back from Colorado skiing with my
that's right.
family.
It's legal the whole way there.
Yeah, we were in Aspen. Dispensaries are very visible. It's interesting because Aspen's such a beautiful city, and it's very visible. It's advertised. I think that the population and the belief is that because we're seeing, I believe it's 46 states now that to some extent have legalized the dispensing of medical marijuana, there is some confusion that the general public still believes that marijuana if you are in possession of it, then therefore you would be immune from prosecution. The interesting twist is that the federal government, under the Controlled Substance Act, still puts it as a Schedule I narcotic. So it's equivalent to cocaine, heroin, and otherwise. And so,
I mean, it's considered a gateway drug that leads to other drug use, and the medical marijuana doesn't have that the high associated with it, right?
yeah, I mean, look,
Is that right or no?
No, it does.
Oh, it does?
Yes. It
Okay,
can. If
well-
you're having high THC, it will cause you to psychoactive.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Go ahead, Stuart.
if you read the literature that's put out by the Department of Justice through the Drug Enforcement Administration, obviously their feeling is that marijuana is, quote unquote, a gateway drug leading to worse types of drugs. But the reality is, here in the state of Florida, when you talk about the dispensing of medical marijuana, while the state has legalized it as of 2016 with the passing of the Amendment 2, the reality is that you could conceivably leave a dispensary with a lawful prescription, and the DEA, if they chose to, could possibly prosecute you under federal law with respect to being in possession under the
Oh my
Controlled
gosh.
Substances Act.
And they could also come after you, Dr. Baijnath, right? They could arrest you. I know you were worried the last time about that, the DEA showing up, throwing handcuffs on you. Because you actually, what you do is write the prescription. Or
No,
not
I
a
don't.
prescription, but you.
Correct. They make a recommendation.
Recommendation.
So yes, technically they can, but we've been told that they're not going after doctors as much as the patients and dispensaries.
So, Stuart, have you ever, as a defense attorney, defended anyone who had a DUI on pot?
I've had many clients who have been stopped or found asleep at in a car. Normally, generally, you have an officer who basically makes observations that someone's eyes are bloodshot, their speech is slurred, they were found slumped over the wheel, their coordination, their walk and turn, reciting the alphabet. And interesting enough, I've had several clients who will then be placed under arrest with respect to an officer establishing probable cause to believe that someone is under the influence. They bring them down to gun club where they're administered what's called the breathalyzer, and they blow, and it comes back zero. And so then becomes the quagmire, and then what they will do is they will administer a urine test.
Oh, it's a urine test.
Urine test. And so you can be charged and prosecuted for being under the influence of either marijuana or illegal prescription drugs or otherwise.
Sure. Okay. So would not a blood test, but a urine test.
That
on
is correct.
Okay. And when I want to go back to Dr. Guthrie on how the law has kind of narrowed. I know we had Amendment 2 and it was signed into law in June of 2017. But what are the qualifying conditions for medical marijuana? If people listening now are like, you know, do I qualify? What would those conditions be?
They include cancer, epilepsy, ALS, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, chronic non-malignant pain, which basically means pain from a non-cancerous source, cancer,
Like
fibromyalgia, trauma, anything like that. And then there's a weird condition of saying anything similar to the other conditions, but you have to write the state basically pleading the case for the patients. And then the state has a certain amount of time to come back saying yes or no. And if they come back or don't come back within that period of time, then it's considered a yes.
So also I'm seeing glaucoma,
PTSD.
PTSD. Wow. So, and AIDS.
AIDS and HIV.
HIV. Okay, so what does medical marijuana do for these patients in terms of how does it help them? Why is it so successful? And you said it does also offer a euphoria, Dr. Baijnath.
Yes. So the cannabis plant has over 100 cannabinoids. THC is one of the cannabinoid and CBD is another cannabinoid. Those are the two main players. The THC is responsible for pain relief, nausea, vomiting, appetite stimulation for cancer patients.
So that's like for their treatment, it helps with the
exactly,
treatment.
but it's also psychoactive. So if you are trying to treat pain, you have to use high dose THC.
Okay.
And it will be psychoactive. Now, the CBD is the one that has no psychoactive component. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's neuroprotective. That's why we use it in Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis. And it boosts the immune system. So those are the two big players. But it also offsets some of the psychoactive component of THC. However, if we're using 90% THC, 10% CBD, it's not going to offset the psychoactive component. They will get high. But I usually tend to use that at bedtime to allow them to sleep And because if you have pain, you're not going to sleep.
So would that show up in a urine test
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Stewart? Okay.
Absolutely.
So that would be illegal even though it's medical marijuana if they get pulled over.
Well, no, and so here's the twist:
If they have the card?
if they can display a valid prescription, then state law enforcement will not prosecute you because you are within your right here in the state of Florida to be in possession or to have ingested medical marijuana.
But Tiger,
but
Tiger
let me just
Woods had
but let me just stop. So notwithstanding, so all right, so and because I know people are saying what, so let me just stop because I want to take my foot out of my mouth. The reality is though, Karen, if your normal faculties are impaired, notwithstanding you are legally entitled to be in possession and ingest medical marijuana. If you get behind the wheel of a car and you are driving down 95 and bouncing off the left lane, the right lane, and bouncing off the wall,
going 30 miles an hour,
or going 30, or stopping your car, which I've had in the middle lane of 95 because you've had too much. Yes, you can be prosecuted for a DUI with respect to being under the influence of even medical marijuana. Now, what I've done in the past is I've had mitigating factors to suggest that the person was recently prescribed the medical marijuana and the side effects were not known, and so there were mitigating factors. I will just tell you that's only for a first-time offender. That's not going to get you out for the second time.
You should know better by then.
That is correct.
So, Dr. Guthrie, I want to ask you the delivery systems for the medical marijuana. I read that there's now tablets that are available, and the FDA is also approving just recently, what is it, the cannabinoid something or other, was it? FDA committee recommending the Food and Drug Administration approve a prescription medicine derived from marijuana. So are we talking about the tablets here? And there's oils, and can you smoke it?
Yes, we have. You can't actually go in and buy the flower.
And you can't grow it yourself.
Can't grow it itself. We can't get behind anyone smoking anything because of the partially combusted hydrocarbons. That's what the problem is.
But they want to be able to smoke it.
A lot of people want to be able to smoke it. So we do have vaping, which is the alternative we have for it.
You can vape it.
We have vapes with oil, and some of the dispensaries do have vapes that have flour in a cartridge that they have to vape. So those are the ways to get it by inhalation. Now, the tablets you were talking about, a lot of the older generation are just more comfortable with it in more of a capsule type form.
Right, just pop the pill, and it has the same delivery? I mean, it works the same as the vaping?
It doesn't work as fast, but it works longer. So you got to wait about 2 hours to get the full effect. But it can last up to 6 to 8 hours.
What if you have the medical marijuana card and you want to smoke it, so you buy some pot off the street and smoke that, and then you're pulled over? I mean, are you covered? And is that the same? Would that affect you the same way and help you medicinally if you just smoke stuff off the street?
So number one, that's completely illegal. That's not covered.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. But medically, there's different strains. There's different reasons we give different ones. So what they're getting off the street, we don't know if it's good, bad. We don't know how much THC is in it. We don't know if it's laced to stuff, especially with, all
it's
the
a lot
lacing
stronger
going on
than
lately.
the 70s, isn't it?
A lot stronger. And we get that question a lot. We get people who are a little older. They come in and they're like, I tried it and I smoked pot in the 70s and it was completely different than this. And it is. It's a whole different beast now.
It's like they did that with opioids too. They're like 5,000 times more powerful than the fentanyl and the carfentanil.
Oh, yeah.
But I was talking to Dr. Baijnath about the dispensaries and also the fact that doctors are coming in and they're giving this the recommendation, and then they're leaving. And then, so you're, as a patient, you're attached to that doctor and you can't get another.
Right.
So how often do you have to renew? I know it's not a prescription, but renew your recommendation.
So the certification lasts 7 months, and you have to renew your card annually. So what happens is a patient gets attached to a doctor through the MMU registry. So I register a patient, they're attached to me. In order for them to see another doctor, I have to release them so they can see another doctor.
And that's the Florida law.
And that's Florida law. So what we've been noticing is that there's a few physicians that took the course. They want to dabble in medical marijuana. They go work for a clinic.
So you just take a course?
Yes,
and
you have to take a course. And
I saw the list of all the names.
and
There's
you
a lot
have to
of
apply
doctors.
for a registration to be a cannabis provider. So what happens is these doctors are going to these they're business owners that have opened up all these clinics. The doctor may work for a week or two, decide, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm scared about the law, whatever.
Sure, it's illegal
Yes.
federally, right?
So they leave, and these patients can't find these doctors. So I get them walking into my into my office saying, I don't know where my doctor is. Can you take care of me? I'm like, no, you have to get released from him before I can help you. So I have to, one of the things we try to educate our patients is make sure the doctor that you're going to have been in business, they know what they're doing, and it's not just a pop-up clinic. So just for their safety, I think the public needs to be more discerning about where they go.
Where they're getting their recommendation and
Mhm.
from whom.
Right.
Dr. Baijnath, you're with EM.
With MD Cares,
MD
EMD,
Cares.
CAR, yes.
And then also Dr. Guthrie, you're with?
Med Club by Dr. Jen.
Okay.
So-
Oh, Dr. Jen.
Yeah.
I'm calling you Dr. Guthrie or Dr. Jen. So today's 420. We're talking about pot, medical marijuana. It's been the law here in Florida for a year and 4 months. And at 9:30, we'll speak with Victoria Walker. She is with TrueLeave. And you were telling me, Dr. Baijnath, that there are a handful of dispensaries. I know TrueLeave opened one in Vero, which then Vero, after TrueLeave was given the permission to open, they said no more dispensaries. So they're kind of grandfathered in. But people were around the block in line for this dispensary to open. And they have filed a lawsuit against the state to be able to open even more dispensaries. But what other dispensaries are here locally?
So we have Knox in Lake Worth, and CureLeaf is also in Lake Worth. And then we have Sutera. They deliver for $10. And TrueLeaf will deliver to you also for
So you don't have to drive.
$25. Yeah, so a lot of people like the delivery because it's only $10 or $25, and 2 people will come to your house and they'll educate you on the process, show you how to use the product. So I like that option for them if they can't drive to the dispensary. So there's 2 locally where someone can walk into, present their card, and they'll be seen.
So it's pretty much Lake Worth in Palm Beach County.
Yes. And so it's the moratorium, like Palm Beach Gardens has a moratorium.
So how does that work, Stuart, with the moratoriums? Each individual city can say they can legally say, even though it's legal, you can't open a dispensary here?
Well, that is correct. And it's very similar to what we're seeing in gun control, because you see now counties or even towns now taking a more aggressive approach in restricting within their towns or within their municipalities. It does not mean that it may not be opened up for litigation with respect to being too restrictive and being now in contravention of what the state, argues that it should be allowed. I have a question. I'm interested, Karen. And again, I'm going to say this, and for all the viewers out there, please save the hate mails on this one. I am a person that tries to live a very healthy lifestyle, and I don't drink alcohol, and I'm probably one of the few people that has never smoked marijuana. But with saying that, I do believe that when people have a legitimate medical illness such as PTSD or multiple sclerosis or something that none of us would ever wish upon anybody or ourselves, I think anything that's out there that can try to assist someone or help them feel better, I'm all for it. I use this analogy, and again, please save the hate mail. I am also a proponent. I'm an animal lover. But I also see now when I'm on an airplane and someone brings a sheep on an airplane or a peacock, and they say it's my service animal, I'm like, okay, we've gotten to the point where it's just ridiculous. And I'm a proponent for people that want to have comfort and have those animals that assist them in making them feel better. I'm curious to know from the panel's perspective, when you said there was a lot.
Can the sheep smoke the pot?
Well, no. Well, when you said, this dispensary in Vero Beach opened up and now there's a line around the corner.
Yes.
Is it open for abuse? Meaning how much scrutiny is there to really legitimize and justify the need for these people who are now just saying, wait, I have my opportunity now. I have pain. I'm going to go get my marijuana.
I mean, do you have to have another doctor with a actual diagnosis, and then they bring you the diagnosis from that doctor, or do you diagnose?
In the beginning, it was you had to get 3 different physicians to agree on a diagnosis. They had to all agree before, just deciding that they're a candidate. But I tell you, when I first got into this, I really expected a line of stoners outside of my door.
Right.
And then these kids started walking in, and some of them fit the profile that you would think, gold teeth, whatnot. And they come in and you think instantly, you're just looking to get high. And then they bring in their medical records. And I'm thinking, how in the world have you lived with this for so long? And they've been getting it on the street. Yeah, because that's the only thing they found.
I mean, how long has man known that marijuana works medicinally?
For 5,000 years?
Yeah.
It's been used in Ayurveda for 5,000 years.
It took us that long to figure this out?
Every culture, Chinese culture, Indian culture, they use it medicinally. And we've used it in the past. In the 50s, I think Pfizer was selling it as a medicine for PMS. And there's a bottle with that.
I think they used to send cocaine in the mail to women from the Sears catalog. I was like,
but it works. It works, you know?
So I'm curious then, if I could ask the doctors then, when someone is issued a prescription for a painkiller, and normally there's the side effects that are noted on the bottle, say, don't operate heavy machinery, don't operate a motor vehicle. Are those admonishments also part of the dispensing? Do you inform your patients?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. We educate as much as we possibly can. And how many people have we seen on opiates that go and drive as soon as they take their pill or whatnot? So this is the same. We had to educate them as much as possible.
So none of this is sent through the mail. You can have it delivered to your house, but someone delivers it to you.
Correct.
But we'll talk a little bit more about that. It is 420. You're listening to 850 WFTL. Karen Curtis with a panel here on medical marijuana. It's actually been legal in the state of Florida for a year and 4 months. We'll have more on that coming up. Don't go away. So, yeah, and you're going to call that woman eventually.
So the patients that we see,
are they going to legalize marijuana for recreational use?
Hey, Karen, how do you pronounce this woman's name?
Victoria Walker?
I think it will too.
I have to tell you what's
Victoria?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Somebody just called about a different name. That's why. Somebody called about it. No, it must be. I don't know. I must have just got confused with the phone call. It doesn't make a difference. Victoria Walker, calling her right now.
The center. Do you suffer from depression, anxiety, PTSD, or suicidal thoughts? Relief is here. Now there's evidence that the anesthetic ketamine has potential as a fast-acting treatment with very few side effects. Ketamine is an FDA-approved anesthetic that has been used in humans for over 50 years. At True North Wellness Center, their in-house coaches guide you every step of the way through the experience. They offer a unique atmosphere coupled with relaxing music, massage mats, aromatherapy, and proprietary post-treatment maintenance programs that are designed to enhance the healing process and continue awakening your mind. For more information on True North Wellness Center, located at 22 Southeast 6th Street in Boca, call 561-400-2123. That's 561-400-2123, or go to truenorthboca.com, and please let them know that Joyce sent you.
Finally, there is a way for you to look your best with reasonably priced, state-of-the-art, non-invasive, targeted treatments, ideal for today's lifestyle. Thanks to Bodyology Aesthetics of the Palm Beaches, for a limited time only, you can save 50% off Botox fillers, Oxygeneo, including ultrasound with collagen, and LipoLite. Men and women can have that summer body or life image update in a relaxed boutique setting, conveniently located in the One City Plaza building at Olive and Okeechobee in the heart of downtown West Palm Beach. There's free valet parking and lunchtime appointments available. Call Bodyology Aesthetics of the Palm Beaches today, 561-619-9136. Take advantage of these incredible 50% off offers for a limited time only. The fountain of you is in your hands. Let Bodyology Aesthetics of the Palm Beaches help. Call today, 561-619-9136. That's 561-619-9136. It's the party for the planet. Celebrating Earth Day this Sunday at Palm Beach Zoo. Learn more at palmbeachzoo.org. Make Earth Day every day with Y-Green. Y-Green offers a better way to finance home improvements for comfort and energy efficiency. Imagine what you can do. Call Y-Green at 1-866-IMAGINE or visit ygreen.com. Y-Green. That's energy spelled backwards.
Peace of mind, it's one of the most important things we can have, and sometimes the most elusive. I'm Mark Anajar from the Law Office of Anajar & Levine. Caring for the elderly is probably the most important trust we can give a nursing home or assisted living facility. When that trust is broken, the results can be catastrophic. If you feel that your parent, grandparent, or loved one was a victim of nursing home abuse, call the Law Office of Anajar & Levine at 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Fort Lauderdale.
Another opportunity for me to spend a little time with my prosthodontist, Dr. Ellie Friedman. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, Joyce.
People don't like running around from one office to another.
Right. Friedman Dental Group is composed of 9 doctors, 5 specialists, and 4 general dentists, hygienists, assistants, and the full support team. So you don't have to run around from doctor to doctor. It's all done in one practice facility for everybody.
That was what made me postpone having the work done until I met you, was the prospect of having to go from an oral surgeon to a general dentist back to the prosthodontist. Now you could have told me we can get this done in one day.
Right. We're able to do amazing things. And in today's time, we can do some really cool things for patients. There's also amazing financing programs for patients which did not exist even as little as a year ago. Come in for a consultation. We'll sit down. We'll be able to go through all your options and then try to find the best dental solution for them with our team. And we're very proud to be able to do that for everybody.
954-752-5560 and on the web, friedmandentalgroup.com or teethinadayflorida.com.
War, poverty, and disaster have left millions of children around the world orphaned, abandoned, alone. When their parents can't be there, SOS Children's Village is there in 134 countries, including the U.S. To make a difference in a child's life, go to sosusa.org.
I'm Karen Curtis with your News Talk 850 WFTL News Break. Thousands of students across the country planning to join National Walkout Day today. Organizers say it's a way for students to protest gun violence as they mark the 19th anniversary of the deadly shooting at Columbine High School in Colorado. 2 Gilchrist County Sheriff's deputies were shot and killed yesterday at a Chinese restaurant in downtown Trenton after a suspect walked up to the business and shot them both through the window. Deputies responding to the scene say they found the shooter dead outside the business. Both deputy sheriffs died of their wounds.
We're the best of the best. They're men of integrity. They're men of loyalty. They're God-fearing, and they loved what they did, and we're very proud of them. They gave their lives so that we can all be safe. The world's full of cowards, and the world's full of heroes. We need to highlight those heroes and what they gave.
Gilchrist County Sheriff Bobby Schultz says the motive for the shooting is unknown. Riviera Beach police say
Yep, she's on the line.
Overnight and turned over to the U.S. Border Patrol. Right now, there's a multi-agency search to find any others who may have come ashore. The country of origin of the immigrants is unknown. A family will learn today if their father, Francisco Gonzalez, will be deported back to Mexico. He's married to an American and is raising 3 girls that were born in this country, but he does not have a valid visa. He's also a restaurant manager at Pizza Al Fresco on Worth Avenue on Palm Beach. Gonzalez's deportation hearing is today.
This is my life, I'm living the American dream. Now, we're concerned that they might try to detain me. Hopefully it's not going to happen. I have a lot of people on my corner, and I have faith that they're going to take the right decision.
93,000 people have signed an online petition hoping that Gonzalez can stay. President Trump believes James Comey's memos about their conversations clear him of any wrongdoing. Congressional Republicans received the former FBI director's memos yesterday, and they were soon leaked to the news media. A wanted fugitive nicknamed the Killer Grandma has been captured in Texas. U.S. Marshals reportedly received a tip that Lois Reese was eating at a restaurant on South Padre Island. She's accused of killing her husband in Minnesota and also a woman in Fort Myers to steal her identity. The Heat were outscored by 18 in the fourth quarter as they lost to the 76ers 128-108, Game 3 of their first-round series in Miami. The must-win Game 4 is tomorrow at the American Airlines Arena. Your next update at 10 o'clock. I'm Karen Curtis. Stay connected with news anytime at 850WFTL.com.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's. At the moment, we do have an accident causing delays on the Turnpike southbound after Yamato Road, and we also have a crash in Boynton Beach on Jog Road south of Lake Worth Road. Shop Lowe's for deals to help you save on those outdoor projects, like 50% off all Pennington one-step complete. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Offer valid through May 2nd. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See stores for
We're in traffic.
That's your 850 WFTL traffic. I'm Claudia Fernandez.
I'm meteorologist Lauren Oleski for CBS 12.
We got 20 seconds.
Across the area for us, temperatures will continue to warm after a cool start to the low 80s this afternoon, staying nice and sunny. Showers could start moving on
10 seconds.
overnight into the day on Saturday. Expect on and off scattered showers moving across
5 seconds. You're going live.
for the day on Sunday. Could see a few thunderstorms.
Now.
This is a special presentation on News Talk 850 WFTL. Watch it right now on Facebook Live as we tackle legalized marijuana from all sides. Now, here is Karen Curtis on News Talk 850 WFTL.
Well, welcome back. And you say, why today? Well, today is 420. Today's a big kind of cannabis day, and I have a wonderful panel joining me today. This is about a year ago. We had our other medical marijuana panel, and a lot has happened. The governor signed this into law about a year and 4 months ago, and a lot of things have changed, and we're getting some of the kinks out, but I am joined by two doctors. One of them is Dr. Jen Guthrie. She's with the Med Club by Dr. Jen in West Palm Beach, and she recommends medical marijuana for patients. She is licensed by the state to well, it's not really prescribed, right?
No, it's more of a recommendation.
Medical cannabis, and you believe in the medical marijuana as a way to treat anxiety and depression. And I'm also joined by Stuart Kaplan. He's our friend, former FBI special agent, defense attorney, criminal defense attorney here in Palm Beach Gardens with the legal ins and outs, because federally it's a whole different ballgame. And, Attorney General Sessions is really clamping down on this Schedule I drug, marijuana, but it's also medically available legally. And I'm also joined by our friend, Dr. Joan Baijnath. She actually was with us on our last panel. She's a board-certified internist and licensed in Florida, New Jersey, Nevada. She works at MD Cares, and she does believe that medical marijuana really helps actually her patients get off opioids. Medical marijuana helps with pain. And then on the phone, we have a new guest, Victoria Walker. She is with True Leaf. Now, True Leaf is one of the major dispensaries in the state of Florida. They just opened a dispensary in Vero Beach. Welcome to the show. How are you, Victoria?
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's a busy day, but we're excited.
Okay, good. I understand that the line was out the door in Vero Beach, and you're going to be the only dispensary there because Vero Beach then voted the city commissioners that no more dispensaries, right?
Correct. And for now, in the Vero Beach area.
So we were talking about the method and the way that the cannabis, actually medical marijuana, the way the system, that how it can be deployed in the body. What are the ways that you have them at the dispensary? No gummy bears and no chocolates, right? But what do you have?
Correct. We don't have that. So the state has approved 5 legal recommendation methods, which would be inhalation, so vaporization, not smoking. They still have smoking illegal in the state of Florida. Oral, so drops, capsules, sublingual, which would be drops under the tongue, topical, as well as rectal would be the last delivery method, so suppositories.
So that's for patients, chemo patients they're throwing up, and that they would be able to keep it down. And I guess there's a patch now. Is that right, Dr. Jen?
There is. There's a transdermal patch. It's pretty new in the past few weeks.
But it doesn't help with pain and doesn't give you the high?
It doesn't give you the high associated with it because it's not as much THC all at once in your system, but it can help with mild pain.
But and it's transdermal, so that's why you can't absorb it through your.
You just can't absorb as much.
Okay. And what about lotion?
There is a topical cream. I've had great success with people with pain with topical cream.
So put it on the area of pain?
On the area of pain, it's 1-to-1 THC and CBD, so you get the anti-inflammatory effect of the CBD and the pain relief from the THC.
But you don't get any kind of a euphoria.
It's not enough THC.
So you go in your aunt's bathroom and borrow the cream for your aunt, and you don't have like an unexpected high from that. We were talking in the break there, some interesting things came out, and Stuart Kaplan is here as well. And we had someone that texted or was on Facebook Live. Are we going to legalize marijuana for recreational use in the state of Florida? And Stuart, you were saying by the year what?
I think it's 2-3 years out. I think what you're going to see is that the states, or at least if you talk about the state of Florida, it's a wait and see type of situation. It's interesting because when I was out in Colorado, I did a lot of reading because I was just interested by what I was observing. Interesting enough, the use that is reported in publications with respect to minors using marijuana has declined.
Oh,
crime has declined.
really? In Colorado?
That is correct. It's really interesting.
Huh.
And when you walk around Colorado or you walk around Aspen, I didn't see people falling over or driving, zigzagging in and out of the
So
roads.
all those arguments that crime will increase, it's the gateway drug, and drug abuse will continue.
At least in that scenario, you don't see it. And it's interesting. They also bring up the fact that when you take it away off the streets, meaning that the people who generally are going out and buying marijuana illegally, when you take out that seedy element, it actually does lead to a reduction in crime.
And you don't know what it's laced with. And we were talking, Dr. Jen, about the fact that the medical marijuana is more pure. And Stuart, you said you went into some stores where the legal marijuana is sold, not the dispensary, and those are real high end.
I want to be clear.
Well, you didn't buy
I didn't
it.
go in. No. I'm going to tell a funny story.
You just need an ID,
I'm
though,
going
right?
to tell a funny
Come
story.
on.
True story. I was on my phone. I walked down the staircase. I had no idea where I was going with someone else, and I'm not going to identify who that other person was. And all I heard was, I need to see your photo IDs. I looked up and I said, I'm going to wait outside. That's all I'm going to tell you. So I can't even attest to the fact I went in. But what I heard, it was the most beautiful store that you could visualize.
They brought like a velvet pad out and put the gummies out.
It seemed like it was like a Tiffany's
Oh, my
or a
gosh.
Chanel type of store. So
So we'll talk to Victoria. She's with Trulieve. Victoria, you're a dispensary, so the medical marijuana that's dispensed is much more pure than what you would say get at a store in Colorado where they're selling just regular marijuana products, cannabis products, or off the street, right?
Well, absolutely from off the street. So one of the things that Florida did really well is they required us to do internal and external lab reports on all of our products. And so if you're a patient and you purchase something from us, you can actually go to our website, pull up the lab report that's third party done outside of us on that particular product, and see absolutely everything that is in it, or more importantly, what's not in it. So we test obviously for purity, strength, consistency, but we also test for pesticides, molds, heavy metals, all the things that you do not want to be in your medication.
Right.
So you're very comforted by the fact that it is extremely pure. And I will say Florida has done an excellent job ensuring that all of the providers are creating, exceptional products.
And while I have you on the phone, Victoria Walker with Trulieve, there are a handful of dispensaries, and you're one of the larger ones. You have dispensaries. You just opened in Vero Beach. You have one in Miami. Do you have any in Broward or West Palm?
Not yet. So we have 14 throughout the state. We're working on 2 locations in Palm Beach County currently that we're hoping to have open by the summer. The process to open a dispensary is very long and grueling. So we've been working on them for a while in West Palm Beach and then in Boynton Beach.
And you're also suing the state so that you can open up more, right? Because is this like, people are arguing you have a monopoly, or what's happening?
So basically what happened before the law went into effect last summer, where they capped all the dispensaries and only having 25 locations, we actually had in our application 27 locations. So what happened, and we had plans for many, many more. So we had to go back to the drawing board and figure out what we were going to do, because we had plans for many more locations. So, the argument is when we were licensed, we were approved for those. So we're asking for those 27 locations plus the additional 25. We're also asking that they just release the cap, as it's unconstitutional, and let the MMTCs choose how many locations they want to have. The reality is the local town zoning codes are going to determine how many can exist anyway. There's so many rules in place in every single town, municipality, to say what we can and can't, where we can and can't go. So the cap's sort of irrelevant, because the towns are going to manage that on their own, as they should.
So my question is, you're a dispensary with Trulieve. The FDA, I had the stories today, the FDA committee recommending the Food and Drug Administration approve prescription medicine derived from marijuana. So does that mean that it could then just be distributed through pharmacies?
Well, not at the current time, just because it's still illegal at the federal level, and pharmacies are regulated federally. So not currently. I don't really know what that means. What it could possibly
But
mean.
they do have
not explore.
they do have Marinol, that's available, but it's a synthetic THC.
Oh, the syrup?
No, Marinol is a capsule.
Oh, okay.
And that's been available for a long time for cancer patients.
Well, this was for severe forms of epilepsy, to treat rare forms of epilepsy, and the medicine was derived by a British company. It's a syrup taken orally. So
that's not legal here.
Okay,
it was not.
Well, that's what
approved.
they're asking the FDA to.
Right. So that's available in Europe, but not here. And we've heard that it had good success.
Can they just use it in Europe? They don't have all this pot's legal, right?
I don't know.
I don't even know.
No, it's not across the board legal. Everywhere it's different. It's probably pharmaceutical derived, that particular product, versus what we're doing in the United States.
Okay, and so I wanted to ask you also, Dr. Baijnath, you're saying when I go to a doctor, or you, Dr. Jen, I have to pay you to have you make the recommendation, and I have to have 3 other doctors that have a diagnosis for me, and then there are some doctors that want me to pay them to release them to come see you?
So it was in the past that you needed 3 doctors. That's no longer the
anymore.
current statute. But yes, I've had patients come from other counties that they got put on under their profile as a certain caregiver. That caregiver disappears, or that caregiver charges them to release them, and they never did make the recommendation online. So
how much did they charge them?
It was $350 to sign them up, and then they charged them $350 to deactivate them as a patient.
$350.
And they never did any recommendations, so they never had a prescription to go pick up.
Yes, there's abuse. There is definitely abuse.
It's not covered by insurance, I'm sure.
Correct.
No, insurance is staying 1,000 miles away from this, right?
Until it's federally legal, there's
and
no
how
way.
expensive is it? Victoria, you're the dispensary. How expensive is it?
Our average spend every time a patient comes to us is about $150. On average, they come once a month, sometimes twice a month, but it really just depends on the condition and how much they need. But on average, it's about $150.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, so once you've gotten the recommendation, I just have to renew that in 7 months or every year, and then I have to pay another $350? No. Once you have here's my doctor.
So you're just paying the doctor for their consultation fee,
right?
So that could vary.
Karen, I have a question for the dispensary as well as the doctors. And some of my clients in some other industries have come up against resistance from the financial institutions, the banking departments, with respect to accepting credit card authorization. Have you guys run into any resistance with respect to being paid by credit card or being able to utilize financial institutions in these type of transactions?
Well, I know online, originally they had to pay the state by either certified check, money order, or personal check. And as of March, they switched it so you can use credit cards online to even pay the state. So there's been a lot of, people getting relaxed more at the banks about it, because obviously if the state's taking all cards, then the financial institutions are kind of letting up a little bit.
So much for FDIC. But so Dr. Jen, you said there's a process. So they come to you. They don't need the three doctors with the diagnosis, but they pay you whatever your fee is, and then you make the recommendation. But then they have to pay Tallahassee $75.
So the entire process is usually they call and they say, "Hey, I have this condition. Does it qualify?" or whatever their situation may be. They have to come in and get a full physical, because number one is we got to make sure it's the right treatment for them. So they come in and they just pay an office fee. We do the full physical. We discuss all the different pros and cons of using this treatment. If they decide to go with it, then we create a profile online with the state. There's a lot of confusion with people about who gets to see that profile. People are afraid. I don't want to be labeled a pothead. I don't want to be seen as a stoner.
Can the DEA see the profile?
Well, it's under HIPAA law. So anything, anyone who sees that has to be medically attached to that patient. So it's dispensaries and physicians, and specifically only physicians that have the license to prescribe it. And after we set up their online profile, they have to go home and either finish the profile online for themselves, or they have to do it by paper. We encourage them to do it online. It just shortens the link a little bit. And then they pay the state a $75 fee. And that's the state's fee for processing for the actual card.
And then the state sends them the card. Then they can go to the dispensary and give it to Victoria or the True Leaf people, and they can dispense the
I just wanted to add that the police officers also have access to the database. So I tell my patients that there's, I think, 4 departments that have access to their profile. That would be the providers, the state, and the police officers, and the dispensaries.
Right.
Wow, Why do the police officers have access?
So they can verify their card. If they
Okay.
do stop them.
Oh, I see. They
Right.
can,
Yes,
they can go into the
yes,
system to
They can punch
verify.
their numbers in and verify that they're a legitimate patient.
Well, you were asking Stuart, Dr. Jen Guthrie. She is with Med Club by Dr. Jen in West Palm Beach, and she is licensed by the state to recommend medical cannabis. You were asking him about the Jeff Sessions now has rescinded the Cole memo, and so what does that mean for medical marijuana now that marijuana itself is obviously not legal on a federal level? And I want to also ask the doctors, if it does become legal in the state, will people prefer to just go buy from the stores, or would they want to continue to go through it medically?
I think there'll be a category of patients that are going to want to do the medical because, like,
It's more pure, right?
Yes, but not only that. I have a lot of elderly patients with Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis. They've never touched this stuff, and they're on a ton of medication.
But you have to go through all these hoops to do the medical.
And they're willing to do that because they want me to walk them through the process.
Right.
They're like, I don't know what dosage to
Yeah,
take. Does it
advise me.
interact with my medicine? And then I can gauge. I can work them up to a stronger THC very slowly. So I'm very careful with that because you have to look at their balance, like so many things you have to take into effect, opposed to just signing your name.
Does it interact with other medications?
There's not enough studies to show that, but I tell my patients to separate them by 2 hours because it is processed through the cytochrome P450 system. And all of your meds, most of them are processed through the same one. So instead of overloading the system, separate them.
But nothing
and that's-
contraindicated.
Correct.
So, okay, Stuart, what about if it does become...
Victoria dropped off.
Oh, okay, we don't have Victoria with True Leave anymore. I really appreciate her coming on. So if she was saying that Jeff Sessions is really, they're getting tighter after the Obama administration kind of loosened up marijuana laws. Is it going to affect medical marijuana?
Well, look, I think the federal government is concerned about the dispensing of any sort of any sort of marijuana getting in the hands of minors or engaging in organized crime or in drug trafficking, because they don't want the medical marijuana to be utilized or be exploited for illegal purposes. And so I think if you're doing it for legitimate purposes and you're not affecting minors, or you're not selling it out the back door, or you're not contributing to other organized crime activities, I think you're going to be in a safe harbor type of scenario. But again, it's the flavor of the day or the flavor of the month. If DEA, for whatever reason, and part of what I think is of concern is if you have potentially someone who has taken advantage of your facility in lulling you to believe that they have a justifiable reason to receive medical marijuana, and they come on the radar of someone unbeknownst to you, would that potentially lead DEA or the federal government back to the dispensary or back to the doctors? And that's kind of why it is so important for the doctors and the dispensaries to ensure that any potential safeguards are put in place so that you can always say if something happens, we have done everything, not only everything that you have mandated us to do, but we've gone above and beyond.
Just because you have a medical marijuana card means you can't grow it. This woman that was growing these huge 6-foot-tall plants just got arrested, $50,000 bond. I mean, it's illegal to grow pot. You have to go through the right dispensary.
And you can't take your medical marijuana and sell it to someone else
Right.
or dispense it to someone else.
Or even let them try it.
And any one of you, Dr. Jen Guthrie or Dr. Joan Baijnath or Stuart Kaplan, a former FBI defense attorney.
3 minutes.
These doctors that are signing you up and you pay your fee and then they don't even recommend the pot and then they discharge you or whatever. Who's qualified to actually recommend pot, and can they lose their license? I mean, what are the legalities of that? Can they do that without even doing anything and take your money?
I am not sure about the legalities of it. I know everyone that I've come into contact, I've reported to the Department of Health because, it's just not right. It's patients' health that is just being toyed with. And this is a privilege, So
Can dentists actually be qualified?
It's MDs and DOs.
MD, okay. And so go ahead.
So, Karen, I want to jump in only because, I have to rock the boat a little bit.
Yes, go ahead. Rock
listen,
it, Stuart.
So I have two doctors here. And by the way, for the viewing audience, these are such wonderful people that are coming in. And forgive me for asking this question. So what is the position when we're talking about the dispensing of medical marijuana for legitimate medical purposes? And obviously you have the expertise to identify a legitimate medical purpose. Where will you stand 2 years from now if the floodgates open up here in the state of Florida for recreational use? Can you in any way articulate to me how you can take a scenario now where it's justified to give it for legitimate medical purposes and then say, oh, for recreational use, go have at it? How do you resolve that?
Well,
in your
how
mind?
different is it from alcohol?
I agree.
You know, how different. So there's going to be a group of people
30
that
seconds.
will use it, you know, to kind of take the edge off. Just like on a weekend, I'll have a glass of wine. They'll use their pot, and that's okay with me. But the patients that need it for legitimate reasons, they're different. So there will be a category for both.
All right, so we're winding down this 420 panel on medical marijuana, and I want to thank
10 seconds.
Victoria Walker from Truly for joining us on the phone. That's the dispensary. Dr. Jen Guthrie, she is licensed by the state to recommend medical cannabis. She runs the Med Club by Dr. Jen in West Palm Beach. Thank you so much. And Stuart Kaplan, former FBI agent, thank you for joining us. And Dr. Joan Baijnath with MD Cares. We really appreciate it. That's our panel.
Thank
850
you.
WFTL. Rich Stevens up next.
Hey, it's Jen and Bill from The Morning Show, and if you have a kid in your life,